Hello everyone, I'm Genesis, a chemistry honors student who today is going to get deep into how to balance redox reactions. First, what is a redox reaction? Well, a redox reaction can be defined as a chemical reaction in which electrons are transferred between two reactants participating in it. This transfer of electrons can be identified by observing the changes in the oxidation states of the reacting species. Redox is a short form for reduction and oxidation. To know if reduction or oxidation is happening, you have to be looking at the numbers. Well, the bigger the number of electrons, oxidation is happening. Whereas the smaller the number is, reduction is taking place. How do you determine the oxidation states of elements? Well, there are certain rules that you have to follow in order to determine this. Ms. Monica provided me 9 rules. You can pause the video and go through them. Once we have this set, we can start balancing this redox reaction. Step number 1 is to identify which element is going through oxidation and which element is going through reduction. How can we do this? Well, what you have to do is find the charge of each element. Remember the rules we just saw. You can go back to them and get a better understanding if you need to. Now that the rules are fresh in your mind, let's start. We can see that oxygen is not combined with fluorine nor is it a peroxide. Therefore, its charge is -2. To find iodine, you have to do some algebra. The oxidation state of hydrogen in this case is +1 because it is not being combined with a metal. Rhenium is alone, therefore its charge is 0. Now, let's do the same process but with the right side of the reaction now. Again, oxygen has a charge of -2, hydrogen has a charge of +1, iodine has a charge of +1, and rhenium has a charge of +7. Next step is to identify the oxidation and reduction elements. Rhenium lost 7 electrons, making it the oxidized element. Iodine gained 4 electrons, making it the reduced element. Now, we have to find the oxidation and reduction agents. What are these agents? Well, the oxidation agent is responsible for accepting electrons and gets reduced. And the reduction agent is responsible for losing electrons and gets oxidized. An easy way to identify them is by just writing the opposite one. We're doing well so far. Next step is to apply the half reaction method. This is the oxidation half reaction. You balance each side. Then, you add 7 electrons because that's what rhenium lost. There is no particular place in which you have to write the electrons. Just make sure they're not placed on the same side of the reduction side. An important thing to remember is that if you want to add oxygen, you have to add water, not oxygen alone. So, you have to add H2O. Let's do the reduction half reaction now. We do the same, and remember to multiply each equation by the opposite number of electrons. We can now add them and start canceling like terms. I ended up canceling the added electrons, some of H2O and some of hydrogen. We're not done yet, since it's in acidic form. How can we tell if a reaction is in its acidic form? Well, if there are hydrogen ions on one side and water on the other, it's definitely in its acidic form. What we have to do from now on is add hydroxide ions to both sides of the reaction. You have to add the same amount of hydrogen ions you already have. You cancel once again, and there we have it, the reaction in a basic solution. I know this requires time, patience, and effort, but if you keep practicing the rules, they will eventually stick with you and you'll be faster. To wrap it up, I want to thank Ms. Monica for making me believe in my chemistry skills once again. Thank you, Miss.